And on today's podcast, we have the trifecta for our new podcast series of creating a top agent. It's my man, JB Bolvadin, Dan O'Neill, and Amanda Palmeri.
Yeah, kid. Welcome back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. My name is Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer, aka Captain Permit, aka
El Judío Maravilloso.
Yes!
That's pretty good. I prepped for that, bro.
He's been saying it every night before bed. We're close. So this is a new and different last of 2020 podcast. So you know it's going to be a shit show because 2020 was a shit show. So in true 2020 fashion, we got to go out with a bang. Bang! Right? So I got 3, I'm putting myself in this, of Long Island real estate's top of the real estate industry. And then I have 1 soon to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Look more confident. Give me the confident
exactly.
look. Future top of real estate. So this podcast is a little bit different than normal. I don't know what was going on. I don't even know exactly how this came to be, but we're here and it's going to be fantastic. And I was talking to one of today's guests via social media. She's a new agent, and we're going back and forth, and I'm like, oh, post this, do that. And she was just super responsive, and I loved her energy and loved everything we should do. And I was like, you know what? Everybody knows I have this thing, I call it broker beef, where I feel like a lot of agents come into real estate and they don't really get the training that they need, and they're standing there kind of like, you know, what do we do? How do I get leads? How do I get listings? How do I engage people? What do we do? So I know nothing about her. I know nothing about her brokerage, where she's with, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get 2 of my buddies that are the best in the business, and I'm going to introduce them and let them kind of give them a 30 to 120 second intro of themselves. And we're going to do a podcast every 3 months, and we're going to work with this new agent, Amanda. And after a year, we're going to see how she did, you know, and we're going to have kind of updates along the way, and it's going to be a cool, interesting process. So with that said, I got the man, the myth, the legend, the head of the O'Neill team, been in the business 2 years, absolutely crushing it, the future of real estate. I'm going to call you the future of real estate.
Thank you.
On Long Island. Stay here, man. Never leave. Never leave. Right?
Thank you.
Signature Real Estate, Dan O'Neill. We have JB Bolvadin. Every single time. I'm so sorry, dude.
It's all right, bro. It's all good.
Really good friend of mine. I mean, what doesn't JB do? JB does everything exceptionally well, from producing to content creation. He is also, in my opinion, the greatest sales trainer I have ever met.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Charles, aka the Handsome Homebuyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, is dated from the 1960s, has 6 inches of mold on the wall, human waste floating past the basement steps, you know I'm quick, I'm easy, Lord knows I'm a good time, I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. And we can't leave out the captain.
Yeah, of course.
Captain Permit. If you need plans, permits, anything permit related from tip to tip, and by that I mean from Montauk to Elmont, we got you. 516-513-8838. And we have Miss Amanda Palmeri. So I want everyone to give us the quick version, the highlighted story. We're going to start with Dan, then JB, then Amanda, and then we're going to go right into it.
Sure. So what's up, everybody? My name is Dan O'Neill. I am the founder of the O'Neill team. We are, I don't know if this is a fact or not, but I'm going to say it anyway, Long Island's #1 real estate team. With
if you believe it, it's not a lie. That's exactly. My theory on it.
I don't know if it's a fact or not, but in my opinion, we are Long Island's #1 team. And I've had my license for just shy of 3 years. We have sold about $50 million in real estate this year, closed volume, which is tremendous. I'm super proud of my team. We've grown from just myself to 4 to 5 to now we have 12 agents on the team who are absolutely crushing it and kicking butt, and I'm super honored and proud to be here with you guys and with you, Amanda. This is an awesome experience and opportunity for you to learn from some bright minds in the real estate game. And with that, I will pass it to my handsome friend, the content magician here, JB.
Thank you, Dan. That was a great handoff.
I try.
Pleasure to be with all you guys today. My name is JB Bolvadin. I'm the founder and CEO of Tilbury Success Solutions. Over the last few years, I've been in the real estate industry since I'm 19 years old. Grew a pretty good career for myself in it, but what I'm very proud of the most is over the last 24 months, I built the largest real estate sales training company and now local media production company on the East Coast.
Oh yeah!
So,
what? Oh yeah!
So by client count and also by the vast different type of people we work with, from people just getting started in the business to mom and pops, all the way up to producers that are doing $20 million plus transactions on a regular basis. I've trained them all. I've seen them all. I've helped a lot of people get to where they are today. and I love doing what I do, and appreciate the opportunity to sit down with everyone here and make it happen.
And your father.
And I'm a father.
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah, just had my baby girl last week.
Mazel tov.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, I am Amanda Palmeri, newly licensed real estate agent with Douglas Elliman in Sayville. I worked in the hospitality industry prior to this, lost my job in March, needed to come up with something fast. I grew up with my mother doing real estate. I tagged along to open houses, so I always loved it. But commuting back and forth to the city, I didn't have time to pursue it. So this was the perfect time, newly licensed, love it so far, somehow connected with Charles, and we came up with this podcast idea.
Genius.
So thank you.
Genius.
For your time. Yeah.
So
idea.
this is what I kind of want to give some. Let's go through some stereotypes and nobody better than you and you to talk about this.
What?
I'm not a real estate agent.
Okay, too
so of just what people think of when they first get into the business, the misconceptions when people get into real estate of what, I think a lot of people think that being a real estate agent, especially in this market, is easy. Mm-hmm. Nothing can be further from the truth. I mean, I see you guys, you grind harder than anybody else out there, right? So I think there's misconceptions of how easy it is. I think there's misconceptions of, people think they're just going to get in. They're just going to be given leads. I want to talk about kind of the perception and then the reality when you first get into it. And I'd like to hear, after Dan and JB, kind of what your experience has been thus far. And you started, I mean, kudos to you, because if you can get through this, you can get through anything.
Yes.
You started at pretty much the most difficult time to do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in the very beginning, no one's just going to hand you off leads. Nobody's going to be calling your phone saying, here's business, here's a buyer, here's a seller. So you really have to go out and get it yourself, more so than ever in your career, is in the very beginning. So my original perception getting into the business, I was the same. I left the hospitality industry, obviously not mid-COVID, but yeah, I was bartending, and then I became the general manager of a restaurant, and I was miserable. And I was working 90 hours a week, and I figured, well, if I put the same amount of time, energy from managing this restaurant into real estate, I should be pretty decent at it, and wound up being true. So came from the hospitality industry, which you automatically already have a leg up on 99.9% of everyone, because coming from the hospitality industry, you have the customer service experience, you have the energy, the lay of the land, I should say. So long story short, came from the hospitality industry, and in the very beginning, I thought it was going to be easy. I put together a couple of deals. I had some listings. I'm Mr. Hotshot, and then all 3 or 4 deals that I did just died. And I was counting my money, and I was like, I have $15,000 coming in. I'm buying a Gucci belt. I'm buying this. I got Gucci shoe. I had the money basically spent, and I didn't even make it. And I grinded my tail off to even get those deals, and it really knocked me back on my butt and humbled me. And my perception in the very beginning was that it was going to be easy, and then it turned out to be one of the most difficult things that I think I've experienced. And now having the team and seeing the agents that work with me, seeing them go through the beginning stages, I see it even more so. It is one of the hardest careers and jobs to get into and succeed and stay in. So, and fortunately for you, you've surrounded yourself with the right people to start. That's going to give you a major leg up.
So talk to me. I'm curious to know, because we've never talked about this. So that's your perception. You get into it. What was your training like? Was it like, did you just get thrown in the deep end of the pool? Were you kind of, was it hand holding and spoon feeding? What was your training like at the beginning? So
I actually got started right across the street at White Coat Realtors in Farmingdale. So not many people know that. And I was fortunate enough to have Jared and Joseph Garcia, who were my brokers and my, mentors, and they trained me, and they did a phenomenal job. But there's really, no matter if somebody handheld, if they take you to open house, it doesn't really matter unless you're willing to go out and do it for yourself. So they could have taken me to 10 open houses. They could have shown me 100 leads and taken me to inspections. But if I didn't physically go out and do it myself and prospect and cold call for the hours and countless nights and research everything, if I didn't do it myself, then I would never have succeeded. And that's really the biggest thing is, you can have somebody like a broker or a manager or a big company, whatever it may be, but if you yourself, you're not willing to go out there and do it, like if you're not going home tonight and looking up Tom Ferry videos on YouTube, or like Jared James or JB, anyone like Carp, if you're not watching those videos when you get home, if you're not obsessed with real estate, if you're not making the cold calls, if you're not, following up with leads, if you're not doing those things, it doesn't matter who you have in your corner, doesn't matter how many leads you're getting, it's not going to go anywhere.
So I think this brings up a really important question before we jump to JB, which is, let me put you on the spot a little bit here. And there's no right or wrong answer to this. What kind of life do you want to have? And let me explain what that means first.
I want to be in West Hollywood with some margaritas. Oh, you weren't asking me? I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
And this is like, people call me up this is like my standard question for everybody, because people hit me up and they're like, oh, Charles, I want to flip houses. I want to do everything you do. And it's not really, what they're saying to me. They're saying something different. So I say, listen, before that, because everything looks glitzy and glamoury and whatever, what kind of life do you want to have? And what I mean by that is, how much money is enough, right? For some people, it's 50 grand. For some people, it's $500 million and more. How much time do you want to have? Do you want to have a family? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to hang out with those kids? Like, these are real things.
No, I think about it. I know what you mean.
Like, I do a tremendous amount of business. I have a goal to open a private equity fund in the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not married. I don't have kids. There's trade-offs to, extreme
Working
success.
hard,
right? Mm-hmm. I mean, some people say you can have it all. Maybe you can. I don't know. I happen to be a pretty extreme person by nature. But in general, what do you want your life to look like?
I mean, well, I think about that all the time. Coming from a 9 to 5, straight out of college, I worked a 9 to 5, and I never felt like it was truly me. I always felt like I was just, answering to someone, and no matter how much work I put in, that was the cap. And I worked in the city at a hotel in the sales department, and I felt like at the end of the day, after my commuting and coming home tired, nothing was giving, and there's a cap that you make in a 9 to 5, and you never really exceed that. So I always had sort of like a sales mentality, but I never knew what I wanted to do. So it was kind of just by the grace of God that this happened, because I do have the mentality that I, understand that this isn't a 9 to 5, but I want an extraordinary life. I'm not a mediocre person. No offense to anyone who's looking for simple, but I want more than that.
What's extraordinary to you?
I would say maybe living above comfortably. Like I want the nice things. I want the vacations. I want to travel. I never want to have to worry about money or my situation.
What drives you?
Success. And I'm going to be honest, money. I'm not going to lie. Money. You want the nice things in life. So it was never in my realm to kind of just be mediocre. And I know a lot of people, as long as they have a 9 to 5 and benefits and that's it, they're fine, but it's not me.
So my famous, I don't even know what my saying, but if I stole from somebody, I'm claiming it, which is, I'm more afraid of being average than I am being broke. So don't use that reference, because you're not disrespecting anybody by saying that. You're just saying this is what you want for you and everybody.
Like, I look around, I'm like, that's great for you, and whoever wants that, that's amazing. But I just I get uncomfortable when I know I'm just stagnant. So.
Amen.
JB, you're up.
All right. So here's the deal. When people get into the real estate industry, this is how they come in. They watch $1 Million Listing. They see Ryan Serhant and make a lot of money, and they see like these guys on TV, and it goes out really well, and they think when they go to an office there's gonna be a lot of training, very high level of professionalism, very everyone's just a killer. Mm-hmm. They think it's gonna be like going into Goldman Sachs or something, just gonna kill. And then when you walk in,
I know what you're gonna say.
What happens is it's a very, very office that's empty for the most part. The average age of a real estate agent is probably double where your age is, which is nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is it's a different setup. You see that there's no standardized training at all. In fact, the people that are in leadership, they put together training programs. This is not specific to any specific office, but just the way it is. What I call it is a lot of their training programs is kind of like real estate hospice care. You keep them very comfortable until their career dies.
Oh my God. Right.
Don't get dark here.
No,
That's true.
It really is true. What happens is that it's more entertainment based than actual production based. Mm-hmm. And then we have what's called confusion. Someone comes in, they're used to coming into a certain job, and they tell them what to do, and everything's lined up and set up. And then when you go into a real estate brokerage, you get folders with the company's name on it, but then after that, you have to find the client, you have to service that client, you have to negotiate everything, you have to see it all the way through, work on a lot of things you've never done before that you weren't trained on, and then in the end, hopefully it all comes together when there's 40, 50 different reasons why it may fall apart. So the first thing I would recommend to anyone first getting into the business is, before you learn anything about sales or anything about real estate, you have to do a cleanup. Here's the cleanup. The first thing I call is integrity check. A lot of people, when they want to get into business, they don't keep promises. They're very good at keeping promises to other people, but they always break the promises they make to themselves. So what happens is that if you become out integrity internally, no matter what you're learning or what's happening, it won't work. Because think about this. Every promise you've broken to yourself, you've always promised yourself stuff that you actually can do, right? So you know you can do it, and then you may not do it anyway.
Yeah.
So now someone's going to teach you something that you can't do, it's impossible. Mm-hmm. So the first part is, when you're getting new in businesses, you do an integrity check. You spend the first 2 weeks anywhere new observing, and making sure that no matter what you promise yourself or why you do it, because you promise yourself, not even for the result. This makes your confidence level blow up. Anyone that I meet where they're a little apprehensive or scared, they're just out integrity. And it's not a bad thing. It's just something to getting your ethics in and your integrity in with yourself. Right. Next step is be careful who you're taking information from. I want you to finish a few sentences for me. Money doesn't grow on
trees.
Money won't make you
happy.
Money is the root of
all evil.
A penny saved is
$1.
I don't know that one either. Penny saved is a penny earned. Okay, so these other things that I just mentioned, did you come up with that?
It's in my head already.
Right, someone implanted it to you.
Right.
So there's a lot of data that doesn't make sense. Like you didn't even choose your name.
No.
All right, like you didn't choose a lot of things in your life and that becomes your identity. So you have all this information that may not even be real as you're entering a new world. So you're going in, you're thinking someone in front of you might be doing it for 10, 15 years. They might know better, but they don't know anything.
Right.
Very good point.
Yeah, so what you got to do is you got to find what's called a stable datum. And what a stable datum is something or someone that you know that you can duplicate and you'll do right by you. Sometimes you're lucky enough to find a mentor like Dan did and he didn't have to pay them by the hour. Sometimes you got to find someone and pay them for it. Whatever it takes, as long as it's not illegal or unethical, you need to do to make sure you put yourself in front of the right things and the right people, right information. Right. That's your first month in the business. Then when you set that all up, now it's time to learn mindset, routine, sales skills, follow up, all of those things.
Right.
Because then it'll work. Because a lot of people come in, they're out integrity, they have a lot of false data, they don't have a stable datum, and then they don't even execute the things that they know they can do, and they're trying to learn things that they know they can't do. It's impossible, and that's why a year from now, 85% of people who are doing real estate aren't there anymore.
Right.
So let's add to that, right? Because I was thinking, like, what's the first stage of this whole process? So and we're going to get a little philosophical here. I'm sure you've heard a bunch of this stuff before. Just humor us. Is when you said mindset, that's what I was thinking. I was like, mindset. So, you know, very highly successful people are all very similar, right? So if I said to you, what does it take to be great? Like, I'm 41 years old. I learned at about 30 what it takes to be great. I'm thankful that I learned it at 30. I wish I would have learned it at, 12. Maybe I would have been a professional athlete or something, hockey player, something like that. But when I say to you, what does it take to be great? What do you think it takes to be great?
I think personal habits. It's the drive that you have. It's the routine you follow. And recently I would say like manifestation. Thinking about what you want. When I think about what I want my life to look like, whether it's a car, a home, a family, that's what drives me. Waking up every day and wanting to be better than you were the day before.
So for me, and I'd love to get both of your takes on this also. For me, what it takes to be great is just like ridiculous, sickening, just obsessive work ethic, right? To the point where, and you gotta love it. Like, you gotta love it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you said before, the obsession with it.
Yeah.
You have to be so obsessed.
You have to love it in the moments where just life is going to shit. Like every Monday for some reason, it's like, I just feel like by noon, I've been just beaten all day.
Oh, it's every day. Look at my tie right now. I have my tie out. I got my butt kicked today.
But even in those moments where it's just awful, like that squatter moved in, like when Dan calls me at 11 o'clock at night and I'm flying up there and we're like flipping out because this person could be in a house for a year. Like in those moments, like Dan turned to me, he's like, what did you say to me? And I was just like, bro, I love every minute of this shit.
At 12:30 at night.
That's what it takes. And it's day in, day out. And people are going to say to you, you're working too much. And people are going to say, oh, you're obsessive. And people are going to say, oh, you don't have enough fun. But to each his own, right?
Right. It's for something. It's like every little thing, even when it goes wrong, it's for an end goal. And it's like addicting almost.
Well, it's just how you're wired.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't breathe without this. It sounds like very like cliche, but I can't.
I get it.
JB, I'm sure can't do without what he's doing.
I love what I do.
It's our oxygen.
Thing. Yeah.
It's our oxygen. What was the beginning question too?
So what does it take to be great at something? So like we're talking about mindset.
Right.
Here. Let's set it up from the beginning.
So I think my answer to that is sacrifice. Me being 26 years old, like I'm sure you could probably relate to this. Our friends are in Tulum. My friends are in Mexico. Friends are in Florida. My friends go out every single weekend, maybe pre-COVID. My friends, go have birthday parties. They have this, they have that. And my answer to that is sacrifice, because for a year, like I had, or maybe a year and a half, I knew what my goals were and I wanted to accomplish those goals. And I knew that, unfortunately, that kind of activities and those stuff would have gotten in my way and prevented me from reaching my goals. So I didn't see my friends. Maybe I didn't see my family as much as I should have. Maybe I wasn't even the best boyfriend to Grace, right? Because I was sacrificing all of those things, unfortunately, to get to where I wanted to be. And listen, everyone's mindset and everyone's goals are different. Like, your goal for next year might be 36 houses, might be 60, might be 100, but whatever your goal is, it's different for all of us, and it's a different level of sacrifice.
Yep.
But for me, I think that's one of the biggest things is especially being younger, and we have our friends that are doing those things. Like on top of that,
a lot of people are set in different
Yeah.
mindsets at our age too. I mean, a 9 to 5 is okay, and
Right.
they're just happy with enough money to go on vacation or whatever they do.
And that's the other thing too, and it goes back into sacrifices. Like when you start first making money and you start first getting your closings in, don't go out and buy the Gucci belt. Don't go out and buy the the Louboutin shoes. Reinvest in yourself. So like
Right.
my first entire year, like I was wearing the same $200 suits from Express, whatever, like I wasn't spending the money that I was making on myself, on cars, clothes, nothing. I was literally reinvesting it into Zillow, into professional cameraman, photos, anything I could have gotten my hands on. Yeah, marketing. I was putting it back into my business, and that's a sacrifice because I could have paid myself and I could have looked good, or got the Gucci belt, whatever it is, gone to Tulum, but I didn't. I put it right back into my business. So sacrifice for me is the word of the day. Sacrifice.
Right.
Thank you.
It's all true. So it also comes down to like really what are your limitations? Because I've never met anyone that was like, I don't want to make a lot of money. A lot of people say that, like even the ones that are content, they get the opportunity that they will. I think what really happens is what are you willing to do, and then you'll find out what you're willing to have.
Right.
So first thing I do is when it comes to mindset is just make a list of everything everyone doesn't want to do, and get really freaking good at that, because that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
Like literally wherever there's pain, become really good at that, and that becomes great. So the next piece is also when you really want to start like wiring the right way. I think sacrifice was a great point. And both of you guys mentioned that is you can even reverse it. Maybe it's not even a sacrifice. Maybe it's an investment. You're buying low and selling high. Like what's really happening is that you're gonna put in work no matter what. Like if you think getting married and then having kids and not having money is easier than building it up and not seeing your friends for the next 4 years while you build an empire, talk to that person and they can tell you what hard is or what sacrifice is.
Right.
They sacrificed their youth, and now there's no reversal. And now they don't have the things in place to help grow someone else. So we want to look at it as more as I'm going to pay now, I'm going to pay later. So the mindset is I'm just going to pay now. It's kind of like upfront MI.
Yeah.
Versus monthly MI.
I have 2 questions. Did I interrupt you?
No.
2 questions. One, what are you willing to do to get what you want? And the second one is, what is your goal? So this is a 2021 project, right? We're starting this basically 2 days before 2021. What are your personal and business goals for 2021? And then what are you willing to do to get them? And I guess those are the first 2 questions.
Personal and business goals. I mean, I've thought about how many houses I'd want to sell, and I don't really know like what's the.
We're just dreaming here. There's
the
no right or
average.
wrong answer.
I don't know.
We're not average. You're not average. You want to live an exceptional life.
I just would say.
No pressure.
I don't know. Success. I don't know. I don't know what the number looks like, but I know that I'm trying to do things every day to go out of my comfort zone. So like putting my face on social media, which I hate doing, and videos in the car. It's not something I normally would have done. But I graduated with a marketing degree, love marketing, and I've worked in several different, companies since then. And I just never felt like I was really using my degree. And this is the first time ever. Even though I'm not uber successful, I just started. Every day I wake up, I'm like, there's so much opportunity for me to market myself. So I'm like super interested in that. But I guess the reason that we kind of connected was because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So there's a lot I can't do. I can't knock on doors. I'm a little bit limited that way. I can't knock on doors. So I kind of have to think outside the box. I think that's what's kind of drawing me back a little bit.
One thing I would say, not to interrupt you, is that I would definitely like ponder it and think about it, and you probably just haven't before, but figure out how many houses you want to sell next year.
Right.
Like think of the goal, and what I would do, and it's so like cliche, but almost like, I mean, I did it. I write it out. I would literally write out
I have a goal for myself that I want to make like a yearly salary in a month. That's my goal. That's how many houses I want to sell.
So how much is it?
Yeah, what does that mean to you?
So you need to figure out what your average sale price is going to be. So let's just
50,000 a month, 40,000 a month,
And
30,000?
Around that, like 50. I would say like 50.
The crazier the number, the better, because you need something to chase.
exactly.
That's the thing. Like I had heard that somebody told me like, oh yeah, like the biggest flippers in the tri-state area once did 250 houses in a year. So I was like,
for me, that was awesome because even if that wasn't true, which I don't know if it is, in my mind, I was like, oh, somebody else did 250, so I could do 250. Right. So, I mean, there are multiple seven-figure agents. So it's cool to just have a goal because you need something to chase. And then once you have a goal, we can break it down into weeks, months, and you can create an action plan to go chase it. But if you don't have a goal,
I would say like $50K a month. That would be a goal.
$600,000 a year, which if we're selling $450,000 houses and you're getting 2% is 9 is 10.
I'm not the math guy.
Every 100
here.
houses is $1 million in that price point.
Okay, so basically you want to sell 50 houses. So you need to sell 50 a house a week. House a week.
Yeah, 4 months.
Not impossible. Not impossible.
Not by a long shot. Four houses a month. Social media, prospecting, door knocking when you're allowed, cold calling when you're allowed, all those different things, and you put them all together at the same time. 4 deals a month, really, it's attainable, especially if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
Can I just make a statement here, a little observation? Just for anyone listening about cold calling, this has become I deal with this on a regular basis in training, but we're not allowed to cold call. I just want to point out a pattern and a trend. The agents out there, and you know who you are if you're listening, and I'm talking to you. If you think it's about you, it probably is. If you're talking about no one should be cold calling, don't forget to put a disclaimer that you never cold call to begin with, even when you were allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing is, if you notice the ones that are pushing really hard, like don't cold call, don't call anyone. They never called anyway, but they have a reason to justify it now.
Yeah.
So now they're not lazy; they're just law-abiding citizens. Meanwhile, they text while they drive, they lie on their tax returns, and God knows what else they do. So
That's really good.
So what I'm saying is that there are opportunities that you can call someone if you're surveying them, if you're following up on something. If you're asking general questions, that's not telemarketing. So you can get into contact with people still. You can think outside the box very easily. Don't let it's not in our business. It's not black or white.
Right.
There's just all right. You can't do it this way. That doesn't mean you can't do it. Exactly.
I agree, and especially right now, there's a quick tip: for sale by owners. Really, if you have a potential buyer or you have somebody that's maybe interested, that's not cold calling. Right. You're not just cold calling the person to try and go get their listing. You maybe are trying to show it, or maybe you want to go take a video tour and send it to somebody. Maybe you just want to go take a picture and post on your social media to try and find a buyer. I mean, I don't know if this is, I don't know if what I'm saying is I guess legal, but that's potentially a way around it. That's a workaround, and you're still abiding by the laws, and you're still prospecting, and you're still working it.
Yeah, and that was the point of this whole thing. So it wasn't we're not here beating on brokers. We're saying there's a very, very small percentage of the population in any industry that is truly thinking outside the box and trying to reinvent and be progressive. And that's what these guys are talking about.
This business is so much fun. You can literally do whatever. You went to school for marketing, graduated with a marketing degree. You could do anything. You can go be David Blaine, tie 100 balloons to yourself, and go fly above a house, take a video of it, and maybe you go viral, and that's a listing video. You could jump on a horse you can go on a jet ski. I went on a jet ski. We went go-kart racing last week. How is that even our lives? But
we're working. That's actually
it's work, it's branding, it's marketing. So this is just such a fun business. You could literally do anything you want, be as creative as humanly possible, and you already have the background, you already have the skill set, you already have the degree, which you're, again, 99.9% ahead of most people. So you just got to do it.
Yeah, and that's what I think I love about it so far is that it's limitless. So I already have so many ideas, but it's just the pandemic that's kind of making me.
We're not allowed to use the pandemic.
I was about to say that too.
The pandemic is not allowed to.
It
is just that as an excuse. I will tell you this. I have done so much more business this year in the middle of the pandemic than I did last year. Now, there are other factors. I was in school and all this other stuff, but my phone rings all day. I got 3 new deals today.
That's awesome.
Bam.
So people, and there's a lot of investors that are running around saying, there's no opportunity. There's a lot of realtors running around saying, I can't cold call, I can't do this. Dan O'Neill and his team are closing 30 houses this month.
Yeah, we closed 30 for December.
30 houses this month.
Was the best year we've ever had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So COVID is not, if anything, COVID is an opportunity because there's a lot of other people that are thinking like that.
To lay the foundation. I think this has been the time to lay the foundation. So hopefully 2021.
You're not allowed to say COVID anymore.
I didn't say COVID.
You're not allowed to say pandemic. You're not allowed to
say it.
No, she didn't say it.
I didn't say it.
I think I
you're
heard
hearing
pandemic.
things.
Maybe.
No.
You didn't say pandemic?
No.
You did.
I said the pandemic is used to lay the foundation for 2021.
I don't know. We're going to have to go back
The
to
downtime.
No, just...
From this point on, there's no excuses.
No
P word.
We're just gonna go. We're just going.
Okay.
So let's. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
We're a secondary market. So what that means is that Manhattan, when COVID happened, was one of the worst places to be in. It's all shut down. It's condensed, overpopulated, high outbreak. And the nice thing about Manhattan is people in Manhattan have the highest earnings in the country. That in San Francisco. So we're a secondary market, which means that if you're not in Manhattan, the market that would be next would be us, parts of New Jersey and Westchester County. So the secondary market blew up. You had 300,000 people leave Manhattan. There was 38,000 forwarding addresses registered with the post office. That's almost 340,000 people that said, we're not going to live here now. Most companies in Manhattan are deciding to work virtually for the next year.
Yep.
And this thing 2.0 is coming out.
You almost said it.
I was going to say co-op.
Co-op. Yeah.
No, but now it's supposedly getting worse, which means the secondary market's going to open up again and flood into Long Island. Sales are record high. Look, I bought a house recently, and I was putting in bids $60,000 over asking as my first offer to agents that I'm friends with, and losing the deal.
I was gonna say you didn't use the right people.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
100 million.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is that like anyone who tells you like this market's not good, it's actually for real estate in Long Island. I can't speak for the entire country because the other parts of the country hit very differently. As a secondary market to the richest group of people on planet Earth that are exiting from there, it's a gold mine.
Yep.
And if you're not seeing the gold, all you got to do is just recalibrate the scope. That's it.
Here's something else I think we should touch on also. So you can have goals like you want to sell 10 houses, but let's say a month, but you have a dollar amount goal. So let's say that's $600,000. We haven't talked about, there's ways to go about doing that. Like traditional real estate agents will come in and they'll sell first time home buyer houses, right? But that doesn't mean, and you have to do volume of that, but that doesn't mean that you can't sell ultra luxury or Hamptons or North Shore or even have a healthy mix. You can position yourself any way you want.
Yep.
So it's more about getting, like if I want to make $1 million, I can flip 20 houses or I can flip 2 houses. It doesn't matter how you get there, you just get there.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess I want to talk about a little bit, if you guys are into it, your strategy as far as what kind of market do you want to work in?
Well, where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school?
Sachem East. Actually, I know Brianna. That's on your team.
Oh, and
Yeah.
John. John went to Sachem East too. Cariello.
Yes.
Yeah, they both
no,
went
I think Sachem North.
Okay.
Yeah, I cheered with Brianna. Though.
So Holbrook is where you grew up, right? So like that, what you have Holbrook, your Farmerville, like those little areas. Is that
Huntsville,
where you want to sell? Like, is that going to be your niche area?
Honestly, I would like to go more for a luxury market. I would like to be out east.
That's why I'm asking.
So that's a goal of mine. Or I service Bayport, Sayville, those properties. So I do love Bayport, but my ultimate goal is luxury.
So when you say luxury, what price point are we talking about?
I'm bad with the price points.
Are we talking about $1 million or higher? Are we talking about $3 million or higher? Or
Start with $1 million.
okay,
Yeah.
I feel like if anybody has stats on like percentages and all this stuff.
Well, you see, there was 38,000 people that came out from the city this year.
I feel
Their
like
budget.
yes.
Yeah.
They call
I'm
me
bad
human
with the
Siri
numbers.
at the office.
I feel like yo, this guy knows everything about everything.
I know.
Crazy.
I know it, but the one time I call you to ask about a number, you couldn't help me last night.
What was last night you hit me up?
Yeah. We'll talk about it afterwards as I eat my mic.
Dude, I'm sorry. I don't even
No. I'm just teasing you. It was.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember
It was
the
about
conversation.
it was about a statistic. I remember about the.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Where do you get
But you
your
didn't ask me what it was.
statistics?
You just said it was very vague generality. I'm not a mind reader, bro.
Yeah, touche.
He just knows stuff.
Touche.
So just talk about the luxury market from a statistical standpoint.
I mean, look, for basically what's happening now is like $1 million and up, depending on where you are, may not even consider luxury, might become average price, which is not a bad thing. Like luxury is like a sexy word, but the commission check on $1 million property that's not luxury versus considered luxury, it's the same money. So you can focus on one of two ways. Do you want luxury or do you want price point? If you want price point, you're better off moving a zip code over where the average price is around $850,000 to $1 million, because you have to think based on, I call it the BMW concept. So BMW,
Dude, I want to get trained by you for like an hour. I want to sit in one of your classes. Like, this is awesome.
yeah, bro, I would love that.
I love you.
So, love you too, man. So, the BMW is like this. So, about 70% of their retail sales come from the 3 Series. But that car also has the lowest margin. But that keeps the lights on the dealership and keeps actual numbers out. The real money's made on the 7 Series, the 8 Series, and the X's and the M's. That's where the real margin is. But most of the volume is made on that. So, what you need to do is have your 3 Series. So, 3 Series could be your marketplace or the average sales price in an area. where you know that on a regular basis you'll have volume that can keep the overhead paid for and things going.
Right.
Then you want to go for your high margin deals in that same segment area, which is the higher priced. Less volume, higher margin. So then you have to locate which town you want to do that in. If you want to go all the way out east, you can, but you just got to figure out, like, if you're going all the way out east, there's a few things you're going to run into. So out east, the culture is very different than it is here. That shouldn't discourage you. It just make you have like a different reality on it. So if you're going to go out east, you don't live out there, if you don't have any contacts out there, you going against the grain is a little bit harder in your first year. You might be better off actually working under someone or with someone, making less money but making a footprint in there. Moving into that area may not be possible, but you definitely should join the country club in that area with your first checks. Because, would you take a buyer out without a pre-approval?
No.
Right. So at a country club, the membership is the pre-approval.
Right.
So you're meeting with people there. You're established as in that community, but you don't have to go buy a $4 million house to live there.
Exactly.
Because you work there and you also socialize out there. So over there, it comes into more of I would call a lifestyle and integration, where in other markets, you look at it more as far as sales process. So what I would do is find your 3 series, which is your regular average price for an area that's predictable sales with higher volume.
Yeah.
This will make it a viable career for you. Step 1. Then step 2 is you want to target where you're going to start segmenting and breaking out into luxury. You want to do it in the same area, or you want to move over a few towns. And then from there, you pick and choose which way you want to go. Ultimately speaking, the future of the real estate agent is in luxury. Because as we start to see more technology come out, we're going to see more self-service. You guys may not know this. Amazon's working on Amazon Homes, where you'll be able to actually buy a home through Amazon. There's salaried people that show it.
I mean, even Zillow too.
Zillow's working on. A lot of people are, and a lot of people are like, oh, we can never be replaced. They just haven't gotten to us yet. That's all. They're just too busy taking over taxis, taking over restaurants. Over $1.6 billion in 2019 was booked in Manhattan through Airbnb. That's hotel revenue that's got moved over to the private, direct peer-to-peer transactions. So luxury real estate won't change because those people don't want to do it themselves. They don't want to self-service.
Right.
They value their time more than their money. So what you always want to do is, as you start to focus in the next 2-3 years, you want to start focusing on clientele that values time more than money. That's viable. If you focus on people that focus on money over time, they rather trade their time for the money to save. You're going to see that you're going to build, then it can start to contract. And you want to leave, if you want to leave a business and legacy over, after the next 3-4 years, you should probably get a hyper focus in luxury and then ultra luxury, because there you don't have to do as much volume either.
Right.
It's a gradient step. I would say this: you're going to overestimate what you can accomplish in a year. That doesn't mean your first year won't be very successful, but a lot of people really underestimate what you'll do in 4 or 5. And everyone who's in the business can vouch for that. And year 1, they did well, they were happy, but they really overestimate what they can do. But when they look at where they are today, they're like, damn. So if you play it like a marathon in a very short amount of time, you'll be earning a lot.
Right.
I think what a good idea would be, and this is kind of the path that I took. I wanted to go that route as well, and I still do, and I still have the aspirations. And now it's finally starting to come to fruition. JB, we did the video over at that Belmore property that we sold for a record. That was kind of the beginning of the luxury or the higher sale prices, I should say, for myself. But what I did was I took the area I grew up in, that I knew people, that I had my sphere of influence, that I played baseball with, you cheerleading. And I focused on that area, and I focused on my contacts there, and I focused on getting those sales under my belt. So that way now I established trust. I had the past sales under my belt. I had the reviews. I knew what I was doing. I got the speed bumps out of the way there, to now I can go pitch somebody with an ultra luxury or a higher sale price. And now I have the confidence, I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and now I can go and present myself and sell that luxury listing. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what my focus was. And I think that if you do it naturally, like JB is saying, and you find your niche area and then transfer it over and you join a country club and you do those certain types of things, I think you'll have a seamless transition into it. But I would definitely, just being same age and kind of knowing where you grew up and everything, I would focus on that area. And then you could do whatever. That's the beginning. You want to go to Miami? Me and JB are starting a Miami team. You could go anywhere from there, but I would start with your hometown where you grew up with people. Your friends are probably getting engaged, buying houses. Focus on those people, because that's really going to be your easiest sale to begin with.
Spot on, bro. 100%.
Every business I've ever been in, you need a healthy mix of business, because here's the thing too. A couple of years ago, people don't remember because the Hamptons are so hot, but a couple of years ago, the Hamptons died.
Oh yeah.
Right? So you don't, in my opinion, you don't necessarily want to be heavy in one thing. You want to have a healthy mix of business, so that regardless of which way the market moves, you're always doing business, you're always making money.
Right.
So, but those are all awesome points.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I showed you the text on the way over here. I thought I had my biggest listing to date, whatever, 3.9 million. We were super excited about it. And on the way over here, we were told that it got sold, and it, it kind of knocks the wind out of you. But if we didn't have our hands in the $300,000 sales, like that could have just ruined the next 4 months for me. You know what I mean? Right. So kind of having, like you're saying, the balance of both is really what you need to do.
Yeah, no, it's like with me, I do it, and I know you do it in your business, but I do it. So I do a lot of fix and flips. We're also buying rentals. I have big commercial development deals, and we're building new houses and putting dormers on. So basically, there's always a mix. So if one of those markets dries up, we're still doing other things.
You have something else, yeah.
And like with the big development deals, they take 2, 3, 4 years to come to fruition. How am I going to eat in the meantime? Well, I'm doing all this other stuff. Similar type of thing. Like, what are the singles that you're hitting while you're waiting for that double, triple, or home run on that $20 million, Southampton house to sell? I think a cool thing to talk about to kind of like lay the foundation for the next podcast and kind of, send you out into the world. And I'm going to volunteer you guys for this. I'm sorry. We'll be a resource for you over the entire year. So you'll have our contact information. Don't feel bad about, hitting us up and bouncing stuff off of us, because that's what this experience is about. And I'm really excited. Like, you don't know us, but we genuinely care about, your success.
I know.
So we want this to work. Like, I want to sit with you a year from now and you'd be like, yo, well, I didn't sell 50 houses, but I sold 43, or XYZ happened, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it'll all be positive. So starting from somebody who's a new agent, who hasn't really done business yet, and at that point, it's hard to reinvest because you don't have the money coming in. So let's operate from that standpoint. I don't know any of your financial situation, nor is it any of my business. Let's lay out a plan of what we think the steps are. How do we leverage cheap or free to generate as much buzz as possible? And what are the action items that we should be doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to get there? Oh, JB, this has got you written all over it, bro.
You want me to go first or you?
No, hit it first, because I think you're going to touch on a lot of great things, and I got some icing.
All right, so first thing, let's say you have $0, you have no budget for marketing, for 0 leads, none of the above. Your first thing that you should be doing is going into your office and asking agents who have listings to advertise or help advertise their listings on your page. You don't need to say it's your listing. You don't need to say it's just a listing provided by Douglas Elliman. You post on your Facebook, on your Instagram story, the whole nine. And by you doing that, you're helping out your colleague in your office, but you're also putting your name out there and the listing. So now maybe you even find a potential buyer for it. But that's not even the point, because perception is reality.
Facts.
So most people that are scrolling through their feed that have no clue if it's your listing, if it's Michelle's listing, if it's Charles's listing, they don't know. They just see that you posted it. Oh, you're killing it. Wow, you're doing so well. So that's the first thing, is perception is reality. So ask your colleagues to post their listings, and that's a free advertising right there. Number 2, ask them if you can do their open houses for them, or if anybody needs help with an open house. Even if it's a listing that's sat on the side or that's been stagnant for 2 years in this market, which never happens. But even that listing, do the open house for. Try and do at least 2 open houses a month. And it doesn't matter if that house has been sitting for 2 years or not. You go out there Friday before you do a Sunday open house, put your signs around every single corner that you can, balloons, the whole nines. It doesn't even matter if it's a Valentine's Day balloon for New Year's. Put out balloons that are going to get people to the house, and there's another free potential lead gen for you. So perception is reality. Post as many listings as you possibly can. Open houses, free lead source as well. Network with super successful agents within your company, or with YPN, right? So you have Maria Babev, huge agent with Douglas Elliman. You have Stephanie Kalanoff. She does amazing by herself. You have Beth Lowe, who's very high with YPN. Reach out to her, see how she's done her deals and how she got started without spending any money. So network, marketing, YPN, open houses, social media, and I think that's all I got for now for free.
That's beautiful. That's fun. That's awesome.
You're gonna frost and then I'll throw
wait, before you put the icing, I got one more. And with those open houses too, actually I guess you can't because it's COVID, but what I
was gonna say.
Oh, I said it.
Secret word.
You got to beep out every time you say it. But what I used to do is basically, I didn't have any listings. I had nothing. I would go down to the town steps. I would provide my card to investors. They had no idea if I had 1 sale or 100. Then I would do an open house for an agent, in my office, and I would go and knock on, 100, 200 doors before the open house to let people know that I was doing it there. And I just gave out my card as much as I could. I would go to Outback and I would go order a seltzer or Insignia. I used to do this all the time. I met Mike Murphy at Insignia. I had maybe $10 to my name, but I would go and sit at the bar and drink seltzer. And I went and introduced myself to him. He's a very big, objectively probably the #1 commercial, whatever. I went up to him. I was only there drinking a seltzer. I wasn't buying a steak. I wasn't spending any money. I didn't have any money, but I was there networking and doing those types of things.
That's awesome. I mean, literally, that's basically like if you actually just follow that, that's enough to get you at least 6 figures, realistically speaking. And then when you start throwing money behind it, that's when you just magnify it. There's a few other pieces now. So you're going to go into your listing appointment, and you don't want to hear these 2 questions, which is everyone's most dreaded thing when they're new. How many houses have you sold? How long have you been doing this? Those are 2 things you don't want to hear, because you're like, I've never sold a house before, and I've only been doing it 2 months. So I want to give you some instant credibility. So here's a few things that you should right away have arsenal ready to go. You come from marketing, so put that actually to work. You can actually go and get certified by Facebook to run Facebook ads, and it's free. You can get certified by Google for Google AdWords. You can get certified for YouTube ads, and actually send your certificates from them directly. So what you do is you talk about your marketing experience and that you're certified by these actual companies to generate the type of attention that no one else can do in this marketplace. Keep in mind too that right now, over 70% of first-time homebuyers are millennials, which is your age group, and you understand them and can speak to them, be able to reach them through mobile device, through social media, and then through conventional methods, and that's why you're so good at what you do. If they question you on you being new, just ask them how much experience Apple had making phones before they came out with the iPhone, put BlackBerry out of business. You're here to revolutionize the business. That's the only reason why you're doing it. And any client of yours is going to get the full attention of you and your company if they work with you, superior to anyone else. You got to come in with that type of confidence when you do it.
Right.
So that's the mindset. I literally do everything Dan said, and then when you finally get in front of them, use those things. But it's not a disadvantage. You don't bring any bad habits from the past. The only market you know is this market. You know the people that are the most active in the marketplace because that is your generation, and you're a marketing genius.
Exactly.
Genius.
That's the way you got to look at it. So, and then when they look at it that way, they go, okay, that makes a lot of sense. They go, what about this scenario comes out? Well, I'm with one of the biggest brokerages in the country. Right. You're telling me that we don't know how to do a deal? Right? That doesn't make sense, right? Like, let me ask you, when you go to Verizon and buy your phone, that dinky kid you're buying it from, why do you still buy it from him? Right? Because you know Verizon's behind him.
Let me ask you this question. I want to get your feedback on this. If somebody were to say, what pops into my head is if someone says to me, well, you don't have any other listings, I would say, yeah, and that's an amazing benefit for you because the agent that's running around with 50 listings doesn't have time to service you the way that I'm going to. And I'm going to give you fucking 300% of my attention, and I'm going to be here day in and day out until this thing gets sold and you're happy. What do you think of that? Yay or nay?
I love it, and I've seen it work, and I've also seen it backfire. So you always want to do is you want to hit them with something and then throw a little bonus behind it.
Okay.
So what Charles said is spot on. That'll work. And then behind it, just always say, who sells more cars every year, Ferrari or Ford? No one ever questions the quality of Ferrari or what they can deliver because Ford sells more cars than them.
Right.
So reality, you don't really care about what I did before that. It doesn't really help you. What am I going to do for you? Now, the other person whose phone's ringing off the hook that has another life.
I like that one.
Right? What do you really think that this is important to them? No. You are my life. This is my livelihood. This is like me on stage on America's Got Talent with my one audition versus Mariah Carey coming in to sing for your bar mitzvah. You know what I mean? There's a whole different level of care there. So that's kind of the way you want to just bring the heat with it behind it when you talk about that. Let's just let them know that you're not making a mistake. I promise you that.
Right.
Because the only risk you're going to take is thinking about it. Why add time to something you were going to do anyway? Right. And then always ask them this too. Ready? Here's the way you can kind of close the objection. Yeah, but you know what? I still think that John at ABC Realty might be a better fit. Well, let me ask you something. If me and John were at the same level credential, who would you go with? They'd say, well, you. Why? And then they would tell you, and then you would ask them, what else? And then they would tell you again, and then what else? And then they would tell you until they're done. And be like, so you can actually see that there's already advantages of why I'm better than John, even though he's been in the business 10 years more than me.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can just make it make sense out of it. So
yeah.
we can ninjafy this. There's no problem. There's no objection that's going to jam you up.
It's also believing in yourself too. Yeah. I mean, I used to get that all the time, and especially being younger too. Everyone would always say, well, I just had so-and-so in here and they've been doing it for 25, 30 years and they're a family friend and then you have, XYZ. And I had it happen to me all the time, but I was just maybe overly confident because I knew that right from the beginning, I felt as if I was better at marketing. I felt as if I was a better communicator than any of those people because of other reasons. Maybe they did have 300 sales or they had another business or whatever. I immediately just felt in my heart that I was going to do a better job for them. And I believed in that. And my confidence just kind of poured out to the potential seller or client.
Yeah.
And I just thinking about it, some of the risks that I took were I don't even know if I should say it on air. Like, I've taken a listing for like 3 weeks. I'm like, just give me 3 weeks. Boom, sold it in the first like 3 days, right? Like,
What do you got to lose, really?
but in that instance, when you're first getting started, what do you have to lose? And that was kind of the mentality that I had, is let me just prove myself, give me the opportunity. And that person that I signed the 3-week listing for, boom, they gave me 4 referrals after that. They got me into their, police department or whatever it is. But I had to take those risks. But more than anything, I believed in myself, and truly believed in myself. And that radiates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People can
100%.
people can sense that from a mile away. I came in here with a tag on my jacket, but I felt good in it. you know I felt good in it. I still do. I don't care. I'm sweating. I've been working all day, no haircut, but this suit, brand new, I felt good in it. And you knew that I felt good, even though you pulled the tag off of it for me. I still had the confidence. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
Swag.
Cool. So a couple things. I want to get your perspective on this, because I've told this to a lot of different agents, and no one's ever done it, but I think it's awesome. As a kid that barely made it out of high school, I find education very important in my older age. So you have to understand, when people buy and work with people they like, yes. But if I put 10 agents across the board, and I say, and I'm selling my house, and there's 10 agents, and I say, who's the best agent? Everyone's going to raise their hand. Who's going to sell it the fastest? Everyone's going to raise their hand. So you really have to figure out how you differentiate yourself. And I'll go over a couple things like that. And
That's a good point.
But the first thing I would do is, one of the things that I would do, especially if you have some time now, I think every agent should go get their appraisal license. Because now you're walking into a luxury listing or a listing, and you're like, I'm not just an agent, I'm a certified licensed appraiser. Forget about the fact that you can make money with that. That's a bonus, that's cool. But now you're on another level. You put yourself on another level compared to everybody else as far as your market knowledge, education, and there's that certificate on the wall that says that. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't mean anything. Like with what I do, and not to pat myself on the back, but there's a ton of appraisers that don't understand market value. Dan, myself, and JB know what a house is going to sell for instantly, a lot better than many appraisers. But perception is reality. So if you have that certificate, that's a big deal, because I don't really know many agents that have that. Mm-hmm. So it's something to consider. I'd actually like your feedback on that.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that to me before.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea if you have the time, and now is the best time to do it, really, out of the entire year.
Right.
As we approach this kind of like slower season, as people are celebrating the holidays, people are traveling, people are doing whatever. Now's the best time to hone in on your craft, do something like that.
Yeah.
Spend the time getting educated, spend the time on the training, get your websites, your social media. That was the other thing that we didn't mention too. Of course, you could post people's listings and stuff like that, but any vacant listing that you have in your office, go there and do a live video on it. Any investor that someone in your office works with, go there and do a live video on it. Post on your story of yourself. And that is the easiest thing. And I think, like, reflecting as I'm like kind of listening here, I think one of the biggest things, like, I haven't been asked how long have you been doing this for, or how many sales you have, any of the above, in probably over a year.
Yeah.
Really, like, just thinking about it now. And I think part of that is because you can go on my Facebook and you already feel like you know me. You can go on my Instagram, you already, YouTube, wherever you look,
Yeah.
It's me, it's myself. And if somebody went to your page right now, would they know you? Would they be able to see what you're doing? Would they see that you're in real estate succeeding? I don't know, because I haven't studied your page, but that's something for you to think about.
Right.
That's just a free way of putting yourself out there. And I agree with the appraiser thing. I mean, if you're listening right now, like, that's a genius idea if you have the time. I agree.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I was just curious to get your feedback on that. So another thing is, you're building a brand. You're not building a business. You're building a brand, and like the brand has to be like, this is how deep the brand runs.
Right.
Like, it's everywhere. It's so you need to be omnipresent. Like, you need to be haunting people's dreams. And believe it or not, you don't even have to be out there that much in order to do that. So I would say to you, I mean, as far as agents go, Dan is the best at social media I've seen. Right? JB is a social media content wizard.
King.
I give myself some credit on the investor side of social media.
Yeah, of course.
So what social media platforms do you currently have?
Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are the 3 that I focus on. I don't want to
Okay.
overextend, but those are
No such thing.
the 3 that I focus on.
So one of the things that you have to do, like, when you leave here, is you need to have a YouTube channel, start it, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter.
Okay.
All right. This is all free. You need to be posting on them multiple times a day, every day. And don't think that you don't have something to say. Just document your life and what is going on.
Right.
It's more important. Forget about, the execution and the volume is more important than the quality of the content as far as the production of it. Don't worry about that for right now. That'll come. But all day, every day, you need to be out there posting. And you can like get creative and, you can put a tweet out there and then take a picture of the tweet and then post a tweet in your story or post it on Facebook or post it on LinkedIn and start to look at the different, methods and say, okay, you know what, like I've noticed LinkedIn responds much better to articles in written word.
Yeah.
Instagram is video, obviously YouTube is video, etc. And start playing with those things, but make sure you are constantly posting on them. It's free.
Yeah, and I have
to change
been,
your life.
Especially different. Facebook is like the older crowd. I don't know if you noticed that, but that's like my older crowd, and Instagram is my younger. So for the first time yesterday, when I was speaking into the camera, I shared it to Facebook yesterday, and I actually got a lot more feedback because I have a lot of friends.
There you go.
Facebook.
And then TikTok also. If you got to I'm not above shimmying.
You love shimmying.
On TikTok, dance, whatever. I took dance lessons for 9 months. Whatever needs to get done. But other things, like I remember I did an interview with Carp, and he had this thing called the Mega Open House, which was pretty interesting. You ever hear him talk about the Mega Open House? Where he goes and puts out like 30 open house signs on Friday night for a Saturday open house, and he leaves them out there until Monday morning. He's just everywhere. Like you need to start, you need a constant contact or some kind of email blast thing where you're at least every week or every 2 weeks, you're building your base and you're sending people out relevant information, right? Or videos and things about yourself. Your signs, what do your signs look like?
My signs?
Yeah, like your real estate signs. You take a listing, you're gonna put a sign up. What does it look like?
I don't have signs yet.
So when you have signs,
I have no signs.
when you have signs, you should have your face on the sign, huge. You want to be anywhere and everywhere. Like, for example, for us, we put about 50 pieces of content out a day across all platforms. We post, like on Instagram, I'll post 3 posts and then anywhere from 10 to 30 stories a day.
Yes, I know. I see you all over the place.
Every time I buy a house, I put Captain Permit Handsome Homebuyer signs in the lawn.
You put 2.
Yes.
Like you put multiple.
Yeah, and then like
it's not even one. It's not even 1 yard sign. It's like 3.
Dan and I do a deal. He puts every one of his agent's signs on the lawn, plus my Captain Permit sign and my Handsome Homebuyer sign. Then you'll start getting calls of people saying, yo, I see you everywhere. Right. And I've gotten deals throughout all those things. There's not 1 or 2 things that get you deals. You have to do 50 different things consistently well, day in and day out, to get traction. And that's what it takes.
Right.
Like I advertise through one medium, maybe that gets me 1 deal a month. Now I do another one, and all of a sudden I'm doing 80, 90, 100 plus deals a year. It's the same thing for you. Yeah. You can't just do 1 or 2 things. You have to lay out a comprehensive marketing plan, and there's gonna be like 50 things. You're gonna be like, holy shit, I'm super overwhelmed. But you take 3 of those things and you work on them, and then you start adding.
Right.
So can we think of...
I mean, I have one for you.
Yeah, let's
order signs ASAP or get with your manager, order some signs.
Your face as big as you can possibly make it.
The more obnoxious, the better when it comes to marketing.
The more obnoxious, the better.
Seriously.
So let's do that. You're going to set up every one of the social media platforms.
Which I already have.
You need a TikTok.
Okay.
You need a LinkedIn.
Okay. I have LinkedIn.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You need a TikTok. You need a Twitter.
I think YouTube.
And you need a YouTube. Yes. When you go on social media, you're going to spend hours, as much as you can, every night when you're sitting down doing nothing, and you're going to, like what I did. Okay. I wanted him, Beth Lowe, very good friend of all of ours, powerhouse agent, 30, 40, 50 plus deals a year, YPN, head of the YPN.
Best of the best.
Head of everything. I found Beth Lowe and started doing deals there because I saw on Facebook that she was top 20 under 40, and I basically nicely stalked her on Facebook, and I friend requested her, and then I'm like, oh, we should meet up for coffee, and I would just drop comments and things, and then we met up, and like this is like, yeah, probably 5 years ago at the beginning of my career, and we talked about internet dating for 2 hours, and then we were best of friends after that.
So
and her and I have done like a half a dozen deals together. When I go out there and I meet people, I get their business card, and then I'll go and find them on social media, and then I'll request them, and then I'll charismatically, in a non-creepy way, weave my way into their life. Because like this is everybody's life.
Yeah, it is.
So you want to go on Twitter and you want to search hashtags and comments about, Long Island real estate, and you want to jump into conversations and just leave valuable information. This is going to take a long time.
Yeah.
But it's going to work if you do it. So with no money right now to put into this, we're going to start with every social media platform, signs with your face as big as possible, some kind of constant contact or email blasting setup, which you're going to now start to build a contact list of, and email blast on a regular basis, helpful stuff.
Yeah.
and you're going to post at least 3 times a day per platform, except YouTube. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's pretty
I
tough.
have
Do
all
some
of these
work.
things, but like I said, I focus on the ones that I think work best for me.
They all work. Because
But yeah.
the 19-year-old on TikTok is 25-year-old tomorrow who's buying a house or who wants to refer you. Like, people hit me up on TikTok all the time, say, yo, I found you on TikTok. A guy hit me up. He's like, my son saw you on TikTok, so I followed you on YouTube, and I'm a dentist who comes from a really wealthy family, and I want to lend you money. This is a true story.
Wow.
You don't know where your leads are
Right.
coming from.
Okay.
Do all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And also don't worry about your followers.
Yeah.
By that I mean, like, you might do a live and there's like 3 people on there, and you're like, why am I even doing this right now? True followers versus entertained people are different things. So if you have 100 real followers that are genuinely following on a regular basis, that's a 7-figure play right there. Imagine there's 100 new people that are genuinely watching you, thinking about you, supporting you, and referring to you. That's a
Right.
huge deal. So don't worry about, like, if you're doing something, you only got 38 likes on it, or there's only X amount of people on the live and you think it doesn't work. It works. Anyone who's taking time out of their day to now watch you is a really, really big deal. And it starts with a few, so don't get discouraged. Like, don't think like, all right, on Facebook I'm bigger, or I'm bigger on Instagram than I am on Facebook, or I'm bigger here than I am there. It really doesn't matter. You know, when I first started my training people, I hired this girl to do this promotional video for me. And we spent the day shooting this promo. Did I ever tell that story?
No.
Oh my God. So I spent the day shooting this promo. She dubbed the audio in wrong, so it looked like it was a Bruce Lee movie. So I'm like,
Oh my God.
And then she misspelled success at the end.
Oh no.
So I'm supposed to teach people how to be successful. The audio's
yikes.
terrible and success is misspelled.
That's awesome.
We throw $50 behind it because I didn't proof it. I just randomly trusted her. I said, with the money she's charging, she's got to be good. Wrong. So only 220 people saw it, $8,000 in signups.
Wow.
Wow.
And at that moment, I learned the most valuable lesson. Get it out there.
Yes.
You'll fix it
doesn't
later.
matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
and really,
It's never
really, like,
perfect.
yeah, seriously, don't worry about it, because when you think 220 people only saw it, that can't generate 8 Gs. Success is misspelled, and the audio is dubbed in terribly. I thought, like, you know, when I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I'm ruined. And I'm like, whoa, oh, this isn't so bad. I mean, look, $8,000 isn't a ton of money, but considering what just happened and
Right,
what was
people
done
are paying
behind it.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is that, like, you know, you can make a big impact without being that big. Like, do you know how to use Photoshop? You come from
Yeah.
Do you? You're pretty good with it?
I'm not an expert, but I know how to.
Well, I mean, I would do
do.
one of two things. I would go get some, like, fake money and burn it in front of someone's house. And just make that your thumbnail.
And make it what?
Make it your thumbnail for your video. Just you, like, lighting money on fire. Because people are like, what the hell is she doing? And then when you look at it, be like, literally everyone's burning their money right now because they don't understand the 3 reasons that make a house sell for less even though it's selling fast. DM me for a PDF on what those 3 things are. Or
Right.
for me to send it to you what it is. And then from there, boom, lead collection.
Wow.
Careful. Dan's about to light some money up tonight.
I got some Amazon Prime money coming already. Amazon Prime. No, it's a really good idea, though.
You're going to suck comparatively speaking to where you're going to be in a month or 2 months or 3
Right.
months. So just get comfortable with that.
Yeah, but who gives a shit? Like, and that's really the biggest thing.
supposed to. Yeah.
Right. Like, you're dancing on TikTok. You don't care who watches
You actually
who.
dance on
All the
TikTok?
time.
Oh, yeah.
He's dancing on TikTok. There are
beautiful.
I will
videos.
dance right here, right now.
Oh, yeah, me too. And there are videos, like, me speaking, like, I've done videos where, like, I'm like, this is the worst ever. Like, I got eczema on my face, my shoes untied, like, I look all, you know, whatever. And it gets, you know, whatever, 1,000 likes. And then there's other videos where I'm like, I'm going viral. Like, let's go. I'm going Marco viral. And and then no one watches it. And you know what I mean? But you can't worry about that. You're putting that content out there to put it out there. And like I was saying earlier, now somebody goes to your page or they go to your YouTube. Now they feel like they know you, regardless of if 100 people liked it or 1,000.
Networking is, I built a business on networking. Networking is the most powerful thing there is. Because if you are sending mailers or doing this and that, it's like a one shot, one deal, pretty much kind of done. You can get referrals, yeah, but if you build a network of people that get constant business via, you know, attorneys, things like that, whatever, get creative with it, they will feed you always.
Right. And I think that was another question I had that I see most agents do. They'll do a business page in addition to the personal. But when you go to the business page, it's always very, you know, slow.
Do you, I think you, by law, you have to have one, right? Per like LIBOR or MLS? I mean, you probably know that.
You know, I'm not sure. I have a mixed feelings about a business page.
Me too.
Business pages, like on Instagram, you can just turn yourself into a business page.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
that's what I
better,
what I
and
did.
the audience is already there. On Facebook, you can't run ads on a personal page,
Right.
so it's more required. But ideally, I wouldn't want a business page because your life is your business. It's not two
Yeah.
separate things.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need to integrate into one thing. So I'm not sure about the law, though. That's a really good question.
Yeah, but that's
I
how
think
I
it's-
felt. Because once people follow like your actual page, it's like getting them to go from this to
the same
another
people.
page.
Yeah.
The only one I think is like
I think
the
it's
only one-
Facebook.
I think Facebook's the only one that's
Yeah.
important because you're capped at 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
once you get to that point, you need to be able to move people over.
What I just did with John Cariello and like Jake and all them and Bree, they all had like their real estate page and then they had their personal page, but it's the same content. It's the same. They're posting their deal on this page and then that page. It's the same people that are watching both. So I would just try and create one, make it public, right? Like your lifestyle page of you going out to dinner,
Yeah.
you hanging out with your friends, you selling real estate, make it into one. And then on Facebook, you have, Amanda Palmeri real estate and then your personal one.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
You got anything else?
No, I think that's it. I got about an hour and 20 minute drive home in traffic.
I'm posting this right now.
All right. I think that's all I got.
So, I think to wrap this up, everybody throw out the handles. If people are interested in following them, where can they get a hold of them? Dan the Man.
Instagram, Dan O'Neill _ DANONEIL. And then Instagram is also the O'Neill Team. And you can find us on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google My Business, everything. JB?
Yep.
Okay, JB, this at JB Bolvadin, JBBOLVADIN across all platforms. It's the same handle. And reach out to me, DM me, and you can find out about what shows we have coming out and also what training events we have coming on.
And the same thing for me. All my handles are just my name, Amanda Palmeri, Palmeri.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I am handsome. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, you know I want that shit. 516-777 sold. I didn't even plug the new text platform. If you are an investor or want to be an investor out there and you want to get in the space, hit me up on the text platform, 516-871-3511. You can ask me any questions. This is not a bot. This is me 24/7. I try to get back to everybody every single day. Any investment related, permit related, development related questions, hit me up at Handsome _ Homebuyer. You guys can find me. That's a wrap.